Hey guys, it's Smurfs. Welcome back to Harpies in the Trees, where I review horror books with a supernatural focus. So I don't know if you can tell, but I actually have 3 pumpkins in my room right now. And I'm really excited about it. It's really getting me in the mood for Halloween. Last year and the year before, I really didn't get into the Halloween spirit. And I think it was just because of not being home in the US, where Halloween is really a big deal, or at least it's a really big nostalgia for me. So I didn't do anything for the last couple years, but this year I decided to do a Halloween special for my channel. And I'm going to be doing something that's pretty ambitious. And my boyfriend is very amused by my confidence that I can get all of this done. But I'm really trying to plan it so it is possible for me to get it done, and it works within my budget and restrictions of what I have resources for. So the main meat of the Halloween special is me taking 3 books that I love and filming a fictional film trailer for each one. So I have already started. I'm storyboarding out my trailers. I'm making lists of what I need, as in locations and costumes and what's going to be needed for editing and all that type of stuff. So I'm really excited about it because, one, I love film. I took screenwriting in college and I really loved it. So this is gonna be really fun for me. I'm really excited to see what you guys will think. I know it's very divisive and controversial when we're taking a book into film, but I hope the way that I do it, it will show my love for the book. I'll also be creating mock movie posters for each one of them. Lilith, my puppet, who used to be in a lot of my reviews, and I did a short film of Lilith before. She's a little harpy puppet that I made last year or so. She's gonna be making an appearance. She hasn't been in any videos for so long, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to bring her back. Also gonna have a few fun things from some friends, hopefully dropped in there, and your host for the evening will not be me. No. It's going to be, I can't even say his name, but So I think it's just gonna be fun and spooky, and I hope that it makes your Halloween night or weekend or week just that much more creepy and fun. So this is my official announcement, so I really gotta get this done now. So let's do some comments for you guys. The last video was the spoopy book tag, which you guys seemed to really like. Christine Staples said, "Wow, I'm only 3 minutes and 30 seconds into this, but had to stop to comment. When you started reading the second tag, I screamed pen pal in my head because the creep factor grew and grew and grew after I finished it. I found myself not wanting to be alone, but couldn't explain why. I'm so happy you picked the same book." Yeah, I think it was just one of those things. It was really subtle. So Pen Pal is about a 5-year-old boy who finds himself being stalked by someone. And this story is a sort of a coming of age kind of tale, along with this creepy factor of somebody stalking him. And when you're reading it, it's definitely creepy. It has so many creepy moments, but I think it's when it's sort of settling in because it seems like it could happen to you. That's super cool that you thought of Pen Pal as well. Spraying Gore says, "Hi Harpy, so I finished Naomi's Room as per your recommendation, and wow, I thought I was immune to all things scary until I read that. I didn't think a book could do that and go there." Yeah, and that's exactly, I think, the glory of that book is just the sort of weird misdirection where it's not even really misdirection. It's just, I don't know. I can't even explain how he did that, but it was awesome, and I'm so glad that you liked it. And our last comment comes from Purgatory Limbo Offerings booktuber, and he says, "I love the same subgenre of horror that you do. Love the videos, keep up the great work. I try to shout out and tell everyone to subscribe to your channel." Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I do find that there are people out there who really do like supernatural aspects to their horror too. So it is really nice to have this little spooky community kind of building. It's so cool. So thank you guys for your comments. Now let's move on to the book reviews. So the two books that I'm going to be reviewing today are actually novellas. One is Dead Lake by Darcy Coates, and another one, which is an ARC, is Helena by Claire Smith. Our book opens with Helena as a small child. She's walking through a cemetery, and she's clutching in her hands a small grouping of flowers. Her aunt and uncle are guiding her from a distance away to get to a specific location in the cemetery. When Helena arrives at the destination, it's her parents' grave, both of them, mother and father. She throws the flowers down, and she's very angry that they're gone. She doesn't understand why they've left, and maybe it's her fault that they did. And as she's contemplating her guilt, she sees something just beyond the tombstone, and it looks like a corpse. And it doesn't look like it has very good intentions. There's something familiar about him though, but he's definitely no longer earthbound. This meeting scares and traumatizes Helena. We flash into the future, and Helena has grown into a woman. But she's not just any woman, she's a businesswoman, and she owns her own funeral service, which she runs on her own. She trained with her grandmother, and her grandmother taught her everything she had to know, but not just how to give ceremony and prepare funeral caskets, but also how to prepare the bodies. Helena has decided that she needs to find some proper living quarters. For the moment, like any young entrepreneur, she's sort of living in her place of work, and she needs something more proper. So she finds an advertisement for a home to rent. She contacts them and makes an appointment, and they decide that it will be a very good fit. The home is owned by two brothers and a sister who have just lost their father not too long ago. Eric is calm and shy and sort of meek. Audrey is lighthearted and full of smiles. And Michael is a little bit standoffish and seems to be much more comfortable when he's in control. So Helena's first night at the house is not going very well. She's not getting the rest that she thought she would, and she's finding herself disturbed by things in the dark. But Helena keeps this to herself because she has obligations at her funeral home, and also she really doesn't need her new landlords thinking that she's crazy. But while Helena is making these transitions from living in her working space to actually having a proper place to live, a body arrives at Helena's funeral service, but it arrives with no intestines or organs at all. And with this body also comes a very arrogant and surly police officer who won't explain why he's there, at least not yet. And this is when our story begins. So there's a lot that I really loved about Helena. I really did like Helena as a character. This book is taking place in the 1800s, around the 1880s or so. She's the type of woman that most men can't wrap their mind around in this time period. She's unmarried, she's a businesswoman, and mostly she handles dead bodies and she knows how to handle them. That's something that can be very off-putting and suspicious to men of this time period. So it's really cool because she gives it back to them when they're being patronizing or belittling of her because she is a woman. So that's super fun to read because you're just like, yeah, you know, fucking tell them, you know. And I'm sure for a woman of her time, she is constantly defending herself, you know, defending her work, defending her knowledge, defending her expertise, defending her womanness, defending that part of her. So I can imagine it would put a character like Helena on edge. You know, every time she's going to meet a male, it's possible that he might engage in this type of conversation with her, which must not be pleasant. She also makes friends with Audrey and Audrey's friends, and their dialogue is very cool. I think where Claire really shines here is in the dialogue. I think I really enjoy these conversations that these characters were having. But you know, like novellas, it's just unfortunate that it's not long enough. I really wanted to know much more about Helena than we got to know, and also about the other characters. It would have been really cool to know a little bit more about Helena, because I did feel that it was a little surface, even though within the story, you know, information is dropped as time goes by. So you are learning things about the characters as time goes on, which is cool. Like, I really love that too, you know, to have information be revealed when it needs to be revealed. And I felt that all of the characters were pretty interesting. Their backgrounds and who they were, especially the female characters, I felt like they really shined. I also really like the story. I think the story was really well planned out. So my only two issues, I guess, with Helena was that it did seem to move pretty quickly. I feel like I would have liked to have more time with the characters. And I also felt like there was not enough atmosphere for me and tension. I feel like it was really missing tension and build up, and I think it would have made the creepy parts like much more impactful. But otherwise, I really enjoyed the story. I thought it's like a perfect Sunday rainy day read, because you could just finish it in a few hours. So it definitely has like some gothic elements, but I'd say that it's gothic light, at least for my taste. And it has a little bit of mystery and intrigue. It has supernatural things happening. So there's a lot of like good things in here. So my rating for Helena is 3.5 stars out of 5. Our story starts with Sam, and she is heading out to a cabin on the lake. It's her uncle's cabin, and he's offered it to her to use as a painting studio for the week, so she can prepare herself for a one-woman show that she has coming up at this art gallery. She will be at this cabin all alone. There's no phone line, there's no reception, there's no internet, there isn't even running hot water. So she feels like this will be a really good opportunity for her to just really sit down at the easel and just be cranking it out, you know, all day and all night. But it's only mere hours of Sam being here at this rustic but beautiful cabin that she sees something really unsettling out on the dock by the lake. And it looks like it might be a person, but that really is impossible because there shouldn't be anyone around for miles. This very specific plot of land isn't even public land, it's government land. And the reason why her uncle has it is just through some friendship or relationship with someone, but nobody else should be there. Sam decides that she's just going to try and come here and do what she planned to do and just hope that that figure just never returns. She's been creatively blocked for a really long time. She had a death in the family and it affected her greatly. And ever since, she's just really not been able to lift a paintbrush or come up with some creative concept that she would like to realize on canvas. Frustrated and annoyed with herself, she finds that maybe the cabin is not going to be the answer to her prayer. Even though she had a whole year to plan, she only has 2 weeks now. And so she's really going to just have to put her nose to the grindstone. However, one night, Sam wakes up and she sees that the blank canvas that she had set out to work on is no longer blank. But she doesn't remember painting. But what's on it is extremely disturbing. And she doesn't know how to cope and deal with what she's looking at. And as time goes on, Sam is not alone. There's something out there in the wilderness where no people are supposed to be. And that's when our story begins. pumpkins. I love going to the lake, but one of the things that I don't like about the lakes are that the bottom of the lake is very slimy and covered in plants. And you know, if I don't think about it, it's not a problem. But if I start overthinking what's down there, yeah, my imagination just runs wild. Like one time I was in a lake, I don't know where I was, I can't remember where, but I sort of like strangely emotionally convinced myself that there were probably alligators in there, and there's no way that there would be like gators in there, like just not at all. But just the thought of it being in the murky water, this was a really, really short read. It was 100 pages. After Dead Lake, there are 4 additional short stories in here, but Dead Lake is the main one. But it was cool. Like, I liked it. So if you like going to the lake and staying in a cabin and being like, I want to be as far away from civilization as possible, you might think again after reading this story. Because it was really well done in how it was expressing like not just what it's like to be somewhere where you are cut off from society, but also what type of environment that creates for other things, let's just say. I really like the mechanism that the supernatural uses to communicate. I think it was really cool and effective. So this is more like kind of the story I like from Darcy Coates. So Sam, the main character Sam, you know, she's an independent person. She is going through some strife in her life. She has suffered loss. And not just one type of loss. She has a decent head on her shoulders, but she's not perfect. You know, she has her flaws, which there were a few times in Dead Lake, because some of the sequences they're thriller-esque, and you're like, no, why did you do that? But when I think about myself in some type of life or death situation or something that requires immediacy, I think, you know what, I probably would just forget about that one thing or not do this one safety measure or whatever. I probably would, you know, and I think that makes it more believable than some, you know, super perfect character who thinks of everything and does everything right, because that's boring, and who cares about that? Not me. But I really like the idea of pairing this with Helena because it has a similar thread through it, and it's also a very short read, and it's just like one of those like really nice Sunday reads. So something that's really low commitment, but entertaining and interesting. So when I first started reading this story, I was just imagining Pam Beesly. And I think it's just because like she has a line in here that just sounds like something Pam Beesly would say, and just kind of like her thoughts about her artwork and stuff kind of reminded me of like Pam Beesly. I don't know. I'd say that Dead Lake is more chilling than it is scary and creepy. And it is a little creepy cozy, like a tad, you know, but it's more chilling. It has more of a thriller feel to it. So my score for Dead Lake is 4 stars. So that's it for me. I hope that you enjoyed these 2 book reviews. And if you did, if you could hit that like button and subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. If you're on Instagram, you can follow me at Harpies in the Trees. Please take care of yourself, wear a mask, and watch out for each other. And I will talk to you next time.